We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred.
With Maxwell Silverhammer.
We are nothing sacred. With cruise control. We are nothing sacred.
Mm-hmm.
Ho, 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 ho. Yeah, bitches.
It's that time again for the Nothing Sacred Shrink Wrap with Luie Loc. I am Cruise Control.
I'm Maxwell Silverhammer. And who are you, man?
And I am. He already announced me, so I'm just I'm like.
No, man, that's the name of the show. It's the man. You fucked it all up. Okay, go ahead. Try to get. What is your name, man? Who are you?
Start it over.
Start over.
We ain't gonna start over.
No, we're just gonna
start
roll.
Nothing over, man.
Fucking bullshit, man.
I'm Luie Loc.
Yes, you are. Anyways, this is the Nothing Sacred Shrink Wrap. By the way, guys, think about this. This is how old we're getting. We've been doing this shit for a year.
Damn.
It's been a year.
Yep.
Really? We've had the shrink wrap for a year?
Yep, since last June, actually.
Damn, I guess you're right. Holy shit.
We've been doing our new format for a year, too, which has really worked out as well, which is like almost 3 or 4 shows a month and just banging out stuff. So,
yeah.
So congratulations, our year anniversary.
It's our anniversary.
So much. Oh my God, I feel so special. Anyway, tonight's show, well, we're going to talk about different
Well,
things.
you know, even though I'm a mental health person, I'm not very sentimental. So
Yeah, well,
I'll just say yay.
well, you know what they say about why people go into mental health in the first place, don't you?
To solve their own
because they're
problems.
crazy themselves.
Because they're fucked up themselves.
Yeah, they try to solve their own problems, man.
So anyway,
It takes a criminal to catch a criminal, not a cop.
Maybe you're not sentimental because you have a dead feeling inside from when you were 7 and a dog pooped on your shoe and whatever.
well, funny story about that. Actually, no, it didn't happen that way. I don't know what it was, but I had to learn what's called empathy, which is basically feeling how another person feels.
Yeah.
Because I guess I'm so self-centered that I don't care how other people feel or something. I don't know, but I know that I had to learn how it felt to be in other people's shoes. Like it was like something that wasn't innate in me. It's something that I had to learn.
Well, the thing is that at least I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they asked me, hey, what about counseling do you need to learn? And I immediately rose my hand. I was like, empathy. I don't have any. I don't have enough. You know, I don't have that goopy feeling about, oh, how do people feel? How does a person feel? Oh, you must feel this way. I never had that. It was never in me.
That's so strange.
And now it's there. I'm working on it. You know.
That's interesting.
That's interesting because so you're not in the mental health field to help. I mean, you're to help people, but you
have an interest in it, apparently.
Well, but usually empathy is kind of associated with, oh, I want to help these people because I understand how they feel.
I've been there.
I've been there. I want to,
well, that's the thing. I mean, that's what they had to teach me. They were like, if somebody's going through grief, even if you haven't been through it, there's got to be a time where you actually experience some sort of loss, some sort of something. I'm like, oh yeah. And they're like, okay, well then when they're talking about their stuff that they're talking about, you think about that thing that you went through also and say, oh, I get it. I know how you feel.
Yeah, I think that I actually I'm over empathetic in a lot of ways. Like I kind of feel like I think Max is kind of on. I think Max is kind of on your. Yeah, I take it on. I take on shit like I take it on. Like I almost feel like worried about things, and it's almost like I worry more than the person themselves. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
And Max is kind of on your level. He's like, fuck them, Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The thing is, I can distance myself. I understand. Okay, I can only do so much to help this person. You know what I mean? There are.
And I can too. I do slam the brakes on at a certain point, but. If I feel I'm getting taken advantage of, I'm done. I just like that could switch. I'm not like, I know I'm being taken advantage of, but when he was 7, he was hit by his dad. No, if you fuck with me, if you piss me off to a point, I'm done. And I'm done. I've turned the switch, like, which is interesting, like how some people can't turn that switch, like fuck you, goodbye, switch,
Right. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yeah. No, you got to be able to do that. Yeah.
Actually,
anyway,
I've been given. I always give you props on how you're able to do that in a lot of cases.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Because one of the reasons is, I think, is because I get I feel like when I have my friends, I don't choose friends lightly, and I'm very sensitive to what they say to me, because that's part of it too. The feeling thing.
Yeah.
You care about what they think about you, because you value their feelings and their
opinions.
thoughts.
Yeah.
So when they say some fucked up shit to you, at some point it's going to hurt a hell of a lot more than it's some stranger doing it. And at some point you're like, dude, I'm not going to keep.
If I ever said anything, I apologize.
Oh no, man, you're cool, man. But my point is that those are the most dangerous people. So when you get around abusive people like that, who will treat you like shit that you actually care about, you got to cut that shit off.
Yeah.
Off, or else it's just going to ruin your ass. Seriously, for anybody out there who really is like, they call them people pleasers. It is in a negative way. It's a thing. It's positive in some ways, but it's actually absolutely can be negative.
Right. Like, well, and here's the thing too: the person being abused doesn't realize this, but they have more power than they think they do, because the abuser does all that shit to control the person because they're afraid of them leaving them or walking out on them or something like that.
That's a lot of it. Or it's because they lack empathy. No. So there's a lot. That laugh is crazy, man.
You do have an evil ass laugh.
Yeah, you do have an evil laugh, man. You got.
By the way, Louie, did you know that the last shrink wrap show we did got like 400 views on it?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's fucking crazy.
Why?
I was shocked too.
No, maybe it's because
dog's happy looking at a dog over here.
Maybe it's the subject matter that we had, because we had the title or whatever. What
could have been.
But hey, who knows? Maybe we're just gaining popularity, bros.
Yeah, man. People are loving us, man. Maybe Louie got some fans out there, dude.
Look out, Dr. Phil. Luie Loc's coming back.
Dr. Luie Loc.
Okay, Dr. Phil's a big old fraud, so whatever.
Hey, man. But at least
that's a different show.
but does he have empathy? I'm sorry. He's got empathy for the money that he's getting, because
of course he does, because he's Dr. Phil.
I got empathy for you if you got the paycheck for me. I'll tell you.
I like when he tells people, "You are a sociopath, you are a liar," and a blah blah blah. He starts getting on people for whatever.
Yeah,
Yep, it's Dr. Phil. That's the thing. Again, that's a lot of the psycho analytical people out there. Those guys on TV, those doctors, Dr. Oz, and all of them.
Oh yeah.
If you take 4 drops of lemon juice every day with honey, your dick will grow 3 inches or whatever.
That's a pretty good impression of him, actually.
That was a good impression. I was like, damn.
That sounds like Dr. Oz.
I don't watch him.
He's got that voice like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking let's go paint some fences for the poor.
I always get those emails too, Dr. Oz, wait, it's a spam thing. But they put his name on it, so it's supposed to be Jesustic. You know what I'm saying? So,
oh man. So anyway, I got some thoughts on what we had a subject. Now we normally don't do the subject all the whole time, but this is a good one, I think, because it relates to the month of July, which is freedom.
Huh.
And you might not think that means a lot of different things. And I'm going to start out with something that I think is a harsh truth. And I want you guys to comment on this, is that we talk about freedom and how we should be so grateful for freedom. And I believe that. I believe that we should be grateful for our freedoms. But I think most people, or at least half people, do not want really to be free.
Yeah,
like,
you know what? It's almost easier to be a slave.
Freedoms and have the things that we have. Like especially now, like they don't want the freedom of speech that we have and the ability to do things without without just boundaries. Not necessarily boundaries, always some boundaries, but it's almost like the ability to choose kind of scares them.
Right, because you have to work. You have to do. You're accountable for yourself, and that's what they don't like. I think it was John pointed that out. Our buddy John on something. Oh shit!
What?
By the way, I just found an old beer can sitting here. An old empty beer can. I must not have thrown it away. But
It's from like fucking 3 years ago that no one even told you.
No, I think it was from whenever it was, last time we did a show, last weekend.
Anyway, work on that. But my point is that like everyone talks about, being free, but I think a lot of people don't want it. I think a lot of people want to be controlled.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, it's easier because then you have to think for yourself, man. If you're accountable for yourself, and people say it's easier being a slave and having somebody control you and wipe your ass for you. That's what do you think, Luie?
So there's a few ways that we can come at it. I mean, I think sometimes what you guys were kind of talking about was this whole idea of being free, but having people to support you. And if there was no one to support you at all, like, the idea of like no government at all, like anarchy almost,
right?
That would be insane in the sense that, yeah, we would be completely free of everything, but then we'd have to fend for ourselves. And I don't think, unless you're like Mad Max or something like that, I don't think you're going to be able to defend yourself against all the crazy that could come at you,
Yeah.
Right.
So I think you need some sort of restraint.
Well, you do, but I guess what we're saying is that, some people want, more control. Like they want, we want to be under more control. We want to be,
sure.
Like this whole pandemic just tells you everything about that. Please, like people just like begging for them to put the fucking mandates back.
Yeah.
Please put the mask. Why are they taking them away? Well, because they're giving people the choice, you fuckface.
Right.
No, I don't want that choice.
Or there's people that want the lockdowns back. Remember?
Yeah.
Same shit.
Exactly, because they're like, they go to the store like, now I have to choose whether to wear a mask or not. And if I don't wear one off, because a lot of it's social too, But I guess my point is that like they want it their way because that's what they believe is keeping them safe. And that's probably the big thing. It's like where I'm getting at is it's safety versus freedom. And I think that goes with a lot of things like our government, like gun control and a lot of things that people are like, no, we need to take them away.
Keep us safe.
Why would you want to take things away from yourself? Well, because other people might use them. Well, but you could use them too. You can. That's the trade-off, I guess.
Right.
Sure.
So anything else? I didn't mean to interrupt you, by the way. I do it all the time.
Oh no. You're good. I think we can go a lot of directions with this.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to go. Go ahead.
I thought that since we're three blind people on here, I thought we were going to end up talking about the whole idea of being disabled and yet being in this quote unquote free country of ours, and yet we're still heavily underemployed and that sort of a thing.
Yeah. Well,
what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think it goes to the same point though. I think it goes back to safety or freedom. What's safer when you're sitting at home and you're collecting your money and you're not doing anything and you're not trying anything for yourself, or you're not getting out there and meeting people,
and you're not encouraged to either. Right. That's the thing.
You're not encouraged to because the other people around you don't want you to be free because they are concerned with your
well-being and safety. Yeah. Yep. You're right.
So these freaking blindos buy into it, and I think that's probably one of the biggest indicators of. This is going to sound. I'm going to sound elitist here. I don't give a fuck, but it's an indicator of the intelligence of a visually impaired or disabled person is their ability to tell those people to go fuck themselves, or at least to go, no. You're not going to constrain my ability to be the person I want to be.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, here's the deal. I think we may have talked about this before, but it's called learned helplessness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we may have talked about that before.
I think I do remember you talking about that.
Yeah, we have talked about it before. We go back to this a lot because obviously it is a central theme for us about being visually impaired.
Right.
But it goes with other things as well. It's like the same thing with now. See, but here's the problem now. You got these people who are, the blind community typically is being told, go, it's great for you. Like they get excited when they go on field trips and shit like that,
Right.
And everyone else around him does. So everyone pats him on the back for going and making a fucking a wooden chair,
right.
at a crafts fucking workshop.
Oh man.
And but think about this. Who isn't disabled today?
That's true.
Who isn't on the autistic spectrum, or who isn't
ADHD or
transitioning or ADHD or so. If everyone else thinks they're disabled, then guess what? What does that mean?
we got to control all of you, right?
Well, this is why we've got people, right? That really just can't stand the fact that they took the mask mandates away.
Wow.
Like there's college campuses, dudes. There's college campuses, kids on college campuses that are protesting and marching to have them put back on.
That's crazy. Well, that just goes to show you, it's what our friend Speakerphone call a college. She called it intellectual inbreeding. Because that's kind of what it is, man. It's like everybody there's kind of, they're young and dumb and don't know shit.
Well, what's the new term? Safe spaces.
Safe space. Yeah, like a safe space. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep. And these are safe space. I mean, these kids are pretty, I used to call it the collegiate cocoon, where, because it protects you, and yet you have this false sense of, I'm make my own rules. I have my own place,
that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like a lot of the blind community stuff or the disabled community stuff. It's like they've got their own communities and they've got what they're doing it. Oh, yeah, no, you're not. You're fucking going on roller coasters and at 45.
Right. And having news stories cover it.
Being led by some girl. All right, let's get on the bus. Let's go.
Everybody single file line, boy, girl, boy, girl.
I mean, because you guys do. I don't know. Have we talked about the incestuousness of those? We should probably go into that too.
We go into that too.
Because oh my God, the fucking drama that goes into the blind center, all that, because they're all so. But that insular. But I guess my point is going back to the safety thing is safety versus freedom. It's like you have the ability to choose to fuck yourself up badly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you can be safe and everyone will take care of you, and you can do exactly the same things you've done, knowing that it's just going to be the same exact result.
Yeah, and I think
that leads to the learned helplessness. Right back to it again.
Yeah.
So let me try to explain it real quick.
Let's go into
in
that
a
again.
nutshell.
That's cool.
So they basically, kind of as a review, but I don't think I have talked about this at least. So back in the day, back in the 60s or something like that, they did some thing on dogs where they basically they would shock the dogs, poor little dogs, right? But they would shock the dogs if they jumped over a certain part of the fence. And so the dogs then learned, if I jump on that side of the fence, I get shocked. Well, you would think, well, let me try that other side of the fence so I can go to freedom. I can jump over and possibly not get shot. But they were like, nope, I'm not going to take the chance. I'm just going to lay here. I'm not even going to try to jump over the fence. And then they tested some other dogs that did not get the shock treatment. And they knew that there was some kind of barrier on the one side of the fence, but they were like, well, let's try this other side. And they jumped over and ran to freedom.
So
and it's like, I think that's what we do. It's like, we're safe. As long as we stay in line and wear the masks or something like that, in that scenario, then we're safe. We're just going to lay down and not do anything. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to keep it all status quo. That's going to be the new status quo. I remember when the first time they were starting to talk about the new normal, I said, oh no.
Oh, I hated that.
I said, I don't want this to be the new normal. I don't want wearing masks every day and not being able to see each other's faces and that sort of thing to be the new normal. That sucks. That's a sorry normal.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's eventually get back to normal. This is abnormal,
Well, that's
but
it.
Some people are like, oh yeah, the new normal. And it's like, oh, that's kind of learned helplessness in a way, because it's like, oh, I guess this is how it's going to be now. All right, fine.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I do still see some people wearing masks sometimes. Yeah,
there are all the time. Oh, here it's there's everywhere here. They're still wearing them in the stores, and it's like, dude, it's okay. But the point is that they have the choice to do that.
Right. You want to wear the mask? It's your business.
They have the fucking choice, and I'm not going to go, you fuck, like, because there's people that are idiots both ways. Like, if you're an idiot going in, well, you're still wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, those people. It's just you're just as bad as the ones you're angry at for controlling.
And here's the deal. At least with me, I'll wear a mask. Mostly over here, it's not required in Texas. It's not required.
Yeah.
Actually, in hospitals and like other facilities like that, it is.
Medical facilities.
On Friday, I had an appointment and I totally forgot. And I just walked in there. I bet you everybody was looking at me like, what the heck is he doing without a mask on?
Well,
And then I went to the second floor and I was like, I'm supposed to be wearing a mask, aren't I? I said, I bet you everybody on the bottom floor was looking at me like, this crazy blind kid, what is he doing? And so they gave me a mask. They're like, yeah, here, just wear it. It's just here. It's cool.
But it's not like,
oh my God, put it on.
Yeah,
put it
people
on.
recoiling
No,
from
no,
you.
no.
Well,
no, it wasn't like that. But I think that if I would have walked toward the main place and been like, yeah, I'm here to see Dr. So-and-so, they'd be like, where's your mask?
Right. But at least you
they
show
probably done something.
that you're cognizant of it.
Yeah, I bet it happens more than you think it does, because now we haven't had mandates for months, and I've
okay, like with work, I got to go to a few of those facilities sometimes, like medical facilities or assisted living places or whatever. And there have been 2 times now I forgot to grab my mask just because I'm not used to having to bring it with me anymore. So the first time I had to borrow a mask from somebody, and then the second time I came to work and totally forgot. And I asked the people who run the building, and she had an extra mask. She's like, here you go. And I'm like, oh, thank you.
Here's the scary part, though.
Yeah.
Ever since this, there are going to be people that will wear masks everywhere. And I see them wearing them outside for the rest of their fucking lives.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a sorry part. For me, dude, here's what I do. Here's how I think of it, and I think part of this has to do with my wife teaching me this idea, and it kind of stuck with me when COVID first started. Oh, I said the C word, didn't I? When that first started,
it's all good.
I don't think they're gonna.
When that first, who knows? When that first started, my wife told me, "Yeah, those masks, they don't protect you, but they protect other people." And I'm like, that makes complete sense. Like, I'm not going to be able to protect myself from the virus, but if I have the virus, I might be able to possibly protect other people from getting it. And so it's like, if I feel like an ounce of sickness, even if it's like allergies or something, and I'm going somewhere that's like in an enclosed space, I'll wear one just because I'm like, look, I'm not going to try and sneeze on you and freaking cough on your ass when I have some sort of sickness that I don't know what it is. And like, I'm going to just like throw it at you. Like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Maybe I do have empathy. Maybe I do have a little bit of empathy, huh?
Maybe you do.
Right,
maybe you do.
I'm trying to plead my case here, man. Come on.
You're right, man. You do, man. Let's kumbaya all over the fucking place right now, dude.
Well, you know what? And yeah, when you see the people with masks, it's kind of, you're right. You feel sorry for them, but you're like, all right, well, you still want to be a slave. It's kind of like the blindos at the blind center. Like they don't make me or break me. I don't really give a shit. You know what I mean?
I don't think I think you should individually judge it as a kid. Like, I don't necessarily look at people. I'm just saying, God, there's so many people that are just knowing that they're going to be scared. And it is like the learned helplessness, like they didn't even get shocked. They were just told that if they get this, they have a like 0.52% chance of dying. It's a minuscule chance of fucking dying from that fucking thing.
Right.
It really is.
Right. It is a small chance for sure.
And even getting really sick on it, there was a lot of people that just didn't. But the point is, these people just said nope, and now for the rest of their lives they're going to be fucking they're going to be just worried about it, and it's
oh yeah.
I think it goes back to what we talked about before, man, and this is why people are ready to give their freedoms away and ready to just lockstep, is because we're the safest society in human history.
Yeah, we're too spoiled, right?
We only worry about shit, man. We worry about being somebody.
We are worried about. We worry about first world problems, right?
Yes. We're worried about being somebody, making a dolphins, and while other people are worried about the bear chasing after them and killing their fucking children.
Actually, although I don't know if you saw my post on Facebook where I said, happy 4th, everybody, blow some shit up, whatever I said. And somebody commented and they said, well, the funny thing is we really don't have anything to be grateful for, or something like that.
Well, are you kidding me? You have running water and electricity. And
I commented. I used your line.
Just having the ability to say what you just said.
Exactly. Well, I used Cruise Control's line. I said, she goes, well, what do we have to be grateful for? And I said that we're not bathing in our own shit.
Yeah.
And so,
I said, there are people don't realize that there are people in this world that are bathing in their own fecal matter right now.
Yeah.
You see the little starving kids in China?
Seriously, dude.
Or not China, but go ahead.
Seriously, dude. I mean, let's just give it up. Let's just give it up for the U.S., the greatest country on earth. The greatest country on earth. Seriously,
man,
bar none.
I couldn't live anywhere else.
Bar none.
I wouldn't live anywhere else.
Me neither.
Fuck, man.
I mean, I know people.
You know what? Seriously, no. Let's think about that for a second. Us being blind. You know what they do to us in China?
Oh, dude, we'd be dead.
They'd
exterminate us.
They'd probably murder us, dude.
Oh, dude.
Fuck yeah.
They'd exterminate us.
There is something called the evil eye in a lot of countries, and if you're born with a birth defect like I was, where my eye is not, they would kill me because they would think I could stare at them and kill them.
Right, like you have some kind of evil power in that eye or something.
Speaking of staring at something, I'm going to stare at the toilet real quick. I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
All right, so keep going.
All right, but yeah, you're right. No, I mean, that's why people say, well, if you could live in another country, what would it be? And I'm like thinking, I'm blind, so I wouldn't want to live in another country because it's just, and you could tell.
No, I mean, they
literally
look at us as second class.
Oh, well, I mean, shit, from just dealing with foreigners over here.
You never know,
Right. Well, when you deal with foreigners over here, even, it seems like they kind of look down on you or talk down to you or whatever, that's, and I'm just like, man, these motherfuckers, really? So yeah, I don't think there's any other.
We could bring up race and all that kind of stuff, but I mean, just breaking it down to disability. As far as disability is concerned, like blindness, I mean, it's looked down so hard on other people in other countries.
Oh yeah,
that we've got it good here. We've got it good here.
No question, and that's why when blindos choose to limit themselves, as the learned helplessness shit. It's like, why, man? Why would you do that, dude? Think if you were in Iraq, they would have fucking killed you. So go enjoy your freedom. You can actually work, you can.
But here's the deal, though. Like, and I've experienced it too. You probably experienced it too. You applied to all these different jobs. You just tried your best. And you knew that sometimes they were just like, oh, I don't know if you can do it because you're blind.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
but they're not going to outright say that. They're not say
but
that
you know what's up because you've gone. Well, you went all the way to the interview. Then all of a sudden you show up to the interview and it's a whole new ball game. Next thing you know, you're getting a letter in the mail.
Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate you applying, but we found someone cited. I mean, we found
there was somebody more qualified or whatever. Right?
Yep.
So you get enough of those rejections. And if you're not strong enough, or if you've learned helplessness where it's like, I don't have strength to do this. I can't do this. I'm just going to lay down and not do anything.
Well, and I'll will tell
let the government take care of me.
Right.
I think that's where a lot of that stems from is, if you have like a higher education or something like that, maybe that gets your foot in the door as a visually impaired person, possibly.
Well, I'll tell you, man. And what I did, because, I kind of did that for a little while where I'm like, well, maybe it's not meant for me to work. Maybe I'm not supposed to work or something. But I still did a lot of volunteer shit. And that eventually landed me my job. So I think I just had to be doing something, even if I wasn't getting
That's
paid.
the point, man. That's definitely it. And something, and I'm not talking about something that's going to benefit others. And I think that's important too, is that I've learned that more and more. Most people, a lot of times we're a very selfish society and stuff like that, but there's just there's a need for people like, at least for me, and I've learned this a lot last year or so, is that I need to do something for others. I need to impact other people. I can't just, I could sit here all day and play the video games and shit like that. It's just not enough. Unfortunately, I think for some people, that's scary. It's scary. It's scary to get out there and like you said, volunteer for things and get out there because
But you also know that being a musician is an impactful thing. Like, if I could be paid to be a musician, I would do that for the rest of my life.
Right.
Or improv, and that's what's happening. Improv. There's a lot of improv stuff going on. I'm going to be teaching improv, which is fucking amazing. So,
and you've been teaching improv, really?
Yeah, but now I've been doing it. What I've been doing it for free.
Right. So, but it's now going to work into where you get paid to do it. So,
I'm looking down that road, and and that's the thing though. A lot of these people with disabilities or anybody who's just been beaten down. Yeah. It's like another way of learned helplessness is relationships. And this is the one that I know about. The unrequited love is one that I would say is one of the big ones. Is where you like the person but they don't like you.
Right.
They don't
Oh
believe.
God, I could tell that
And then
story.
And then the
6
next
times over.
time, and yes, I could tell it 10 times over. You know? I could tell it, but the thing is, but you get so into that then at some point you're just like, fuck it. I'm not even gonna fucking bother.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think I'm lucky. That's only happened to me a few times.
Yeah.
Jesus. Well, hey, man.
Right. Well, no, some people know who to choose, and some people are more confident in certain ways. And also there's just certain things that happen with people. And that's just the way it is. It's just the truth of it. But it also is where's it going at? It's also going back to the freedom of it is though, it's like you don't do anything, so you're really not free.
Yeah.
You're like, oh well, I'm free to. You're limiting your own self by not going out and meeting people, by not doing anything, by being the guy's like, well, I can't get a job, so I'm not even going to volunteer. I'm just going to sit here.
Yeah, I'll just sit at home.
So you're imprisoning your own self in a way. Like,
totally.
Because you're cutting off options, and the more options you cut off from yourself deliberately, you're basically telling yourself, no, I can't do that. No, I can't do that. So you're slaving yourself. You're imprisoning yourself.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's even when I was having all that trouble finding work, I still did volunteer work. I still did music. So there were still, I was like, I got to keep myself active. I can't just fucking.
So you still jumped over the other side of the fence. You didn't just lay down and do nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I couldn't.
Or instead of seeing one fence, you realize you're right. Exactly. You know what? That's great. That's a great analogy. It's because that one side of the fence,
multiple choices,
which is the let's take the job.
Right.
The job choice is, I'm going to go. I'm going to get this job. Rejected. Oh, rejected. Instead of going, there's nowhere else to go, you said, fuck this. There's another wall.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Right. And it's might not be the wall I originally wanted to jump around, but overall on the other side of the wall, there's a path that leads around to the side of the wall you wanted to get to in the first place.
Well, I wasn't raised to take
that's brilliant.
I wasn't raised to take the dick, man. You know what I'm saying? Just like that's never been me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I think that's something that you actually that's innate for you. It's called learned optimism, which is kind of like the antidote to learned helplessness. Learned optimism. It's like, okay, I don't know where the opportunity's at, but it's going to be somewhere around here somewhere. And you focus on some of your strengths, like your ability to create music or your ability to help out people, in a voluntary position, or your ability to do these things, and you just go out and do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You focus on your strengths. And eventually you got the job that you liked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's just, and sometimes it's even me being rebellious, like,
I was just going to say, fuck you. Like, fuck, you're going to shock me? Fuck you.
Oh, yeah, you're going to shock me? Well, I'm going to bite the cord or something or whatever.
Or bite the cord. Or you're going to burrow underneath the wall.
Cut off the generator or whatever.
I've always told people that I am not a rule breaker, but I will bend the shit out of a rule.
Yeah.
I will take a rule and be like, I can really kind of, it doesn't say that I can't do this, so I'll go ahead and do it.
Right. It's malleable. I can bend
that's my rebellious streak. I'm not a lawbreaker or anything like that. But if the law doesn't really quite stipulate what it says I can't do, then I'm gonna go ahead and do it until I get in some trouble, and then I'm like, I guess I can't do that now.
You're like, okay, well, it was good while it lasted. Shit.
Whoopsie. That's
the trick. Good while it lasted.
The trick is to go as far as you can go without stepping over the line.
Yep. Yeah.
And I've stepped over the line a couple of times and
gotten
in trouble. Whatever. What do you do?
Yeah. That goes. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Get zapped once in a while.
So that's interesting though. How I'm thinking about tonight, like just like how like it's almost like a safety thing. Like you don't want to get hurt, so it's almost like people would rather have their freedoms taken away instead of having the chance of getting hurt.
Right.
And in other places, it's just like it almost makes you wonder, like, man, wouldn't it be almost better to go back, not to go back to the days where we had, where we had no electricity and stuff like that. I'm not one of those assholes. I think that's ridiculous.
Right.
But to go back to self-sustaining to where you have to fucking feed yourself by learning how to cook yourself.
Yeah.
You have to fucking learn, do things yourself because we were
how to kill some cattle and shit.
Yeah. Right. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know if I could do it at my age.
I couldn't do it. I could not do
cut the
it.
head off a chicken. I don't know the fuck. What? That's
right. or to can peaches or grow fucking, like I couldn't do that.
I couldn't do any of that shit, man. I mean, the closest I can come is learn how to garden, and that's probably one of those herb gardens you get off TV where you just fucking put in your fucking, it's already
grow in your tomatoes and
they're already planted in the thing. You have to fucking just let them grow, and you just pluck them at the right time.
Right. Yeah. Well, shit. I mean,
but you gotta be a little bit of a green thumb to be able to do that. Some people will kill those plants too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But like cooking,
where I live, I can't plant anything. I mean, I don't have a backyard.
But let's look at an example of you gaining freedom. What have you learned to do lately in the last several years that has given you a lot of freedom and choice in what you want to do with your
there's
food?
several things, but cooking.
Exactly.
You're
like cooking. So now you know how to, you're like, oh, I can. So if you got in a jam, you don't need your microwave anymore. You're like, oh shit, the microwave's broken.
Yeah. Well, I can still cook something.
I break the microwave. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to Jack in the Box.
Right.
I want to buy a
Jack
banana.
But no, you're right. There's a lot of times. I mean, I may use the microwave to heat things up. Like that I cooked.
But my point is, you have choices. You can go. You know what? I'm not going to make the Swanson Salisbury steak meal or the Swanson chicken finger meal. I can make a whole shitload of stuff that's different, and I don't even need to rely on the fucking microwave to make food.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely don't use it as much as I used to, for sure.
So it opened yourself up to more being able to choose, because before you were afraid to cook, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh God, yes.
That's kind of where fear. The fucking. That's it. It's safety.
Well, the safety. There you go again with the safety.
There it is, dude.
Safety enslaves you.
So I'll give you an example of freedom that we haven't talked about. Me and my wife have kind of gained a little bit of some financial freedom that we didn't have.
Yes, that's a good one.
Like even a year ago, dude, we didn't have as much financial freedom as we do now. Like we're still a little bit in debt, but we're clawing our way out of that debt, and we have a home instead of a little dinky apartment. We have her nursing job is like doubled her pay,
Damn,
like insanity going on. Yeah, it's craziness. I've gotten a way better job than I had last year. There's so many things that I can still see from last year that I didn't have that I have now. It just gives me the freedom to be like, wow, I can actually go to sleep and not worry about, okay, is there enough money in the bank to make sure that everything clears? Like,
oh yeah.
No, of course there is. There is. Of course there is.
Or even that stress of just being like, I can't do any. This game.
Yeah.
Right.
Or anything like that, And I think that's it's an interesting because I want to. Well, we keep talking about that about the freedom stuff because I want to go the opposite direction a little bit too in terms of talking about too much freedom because I think that's interesting too.
Because
freedom's like power. It's basically power too. You can call it power.
Sure.
I think. Freedom is power, the power of choice, the power to make your choices. And you're right, financially, just having enough breathing room is great. And here's the thing about the freedom though. That this is why people want to stay safe. Because you can have that freedom and have that extra money and totally fuck it up. You can go and you could go, I have an extra $1,000 a month, and then you go to the fucking, I have freedom. So you go to the fucking casino and boom, I don't have that extra $1,000 a month. In fact, I'm down $1,500.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's all like, it's like a balancing, I guess, there of like the better choices you make, the more freedom you have. And you
can't get too carried away.
Yeah, that's for sure. Like, we don't spend on stupid things. Like we don't
exactly.
No offense, Max, but we don't go to the bar. We don't do anything like that.
Well, you guys don't go to the bar.
That's what he's saying. He's saying no offense.
I thought when you say you're talking about you and your wife. I thought you were talking about you and cruise control.
Yeah, me and my wife. Yeah. We don't go to the bar. So we know friends that go to the bar and they'll spend like $300 on a single night. And I'm
not that bad. I'm not that bad.
Well,
plus I don't gamble.
That is insane.
But it's but it's all the thing. But if they have that money and if they're responsible and can do that and know that they're making, like you said, sleeping at night, then that's great. But if they're not, if the next night they're like, oh shit.
But if they're not,
like Max is not going to even notice that. I mean, for him, and I'm not going to say anything more about, I'm just saying you got your shit together in terms of financially. You know what the fuck?
I'm not going to be, because I know like, oh shit, okay,
Yeah, you're not going to wake up. You're not going to wake up 2 days later in someone else's house with fucking a bank account. You're not doing stupid shit like that.
No, hell no. And I'm not going to blow through like I had a roommate that did shit like that. Remember? He would always just go nuts with his money and then forget what happened and all kinds of dumb shit.
No.
He could go get happy handies at the fucking Asian massage.
But he's the kind
so
of
I think that's that too much freedom thing. That's that too much freedom. It's like it went out of control for that guy.
Oh, totally,
right?
Totally.
Well, I guess that's kind of what I was getting at.
Now it kind of pushes him back into that non-freedom thing again until he gets more money again. Now he gets like, oh, well, I blew it all, so now I don't have anything to spend on groceries anymore or anything like that. I just got to. Right.
Well, he was never, he always paid, the bills and stuff like that. Matter of fact, he would overpay me and say, oh, here's a credit. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, he might, instead of the bill 60, he'll give me 80 and just say, put $20 as a credit next bill. And I'm like, oh, okay. So money wise, man, I mean, he was all there when it came to paying the bills, but I just know there were other situations where he got himself in some shit.
Well, I think it all comes back to, like, once again, compartmentalizing. Like in one part of your life, you could be financially perfect. You could be fucking perfect. You have everything going. The next other part of your life, you're just scared to go out and meet people.
Yeah.
So you could be completely free to do and buy whatever the hell you want to, and go and do whatever the hell you want to, and be free to that way, and have your choice, responsible, or whatever. But then completely safe and kind of self-imprisoned by not being able to socially interact with people because you're scared.
You cut yourself off. Yeah,
so I think it's all about fear. I think that's the key. I think that's the key to freedom is fear.
Yeah. If you have fear, you're not going to have freedom.
Well, and also some people are begging to be told what to do because they're afraid to make the choice because they're afraid to fuck up.
Yep.
They're going to make the wrong choice. So why not have someone to make the choice for them? Because then they don't have to be responsible for it. It's their fault. Someone else's fault for that fucking choice too.
Well, that's what we were saying in the beginning.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, damn. Well, interesting shit here, guys.
Yeah, are we done? Or are we keeping going? I
don't know. You want to keep rolling?
What else you got? Any other thoughts? Because I was going to talk about relationships. You can go with this anyway, like relationship freedom.
Go, man.
Like the fucking people in relationships who are in abusive relationships.
Oh yeah, and they won't leave them.
Here's the scary part about those relationships: is that this is what scares me about a lot of that. Is that these people feel safer in those abusive relationships
than they do single.
Do single and away from those relationships.
Wow.
Like,
you know what? I don't know if they necessarily feel safe. I think that they feel like they don't have any options. Going back to the learn helplessness.
Learn helplessness.
They feel like they don't have. Like this is. I guess this is the hand that I was dealt. Because I used to think that way about blindness a little bit. Like, okay, there's certain things that I can't do, and that's just the hand that I'm dealt. But certain things, I'm like, you know what? That's not necessarily true because there's ways around it.
Yeah,
there's other means of doing it, But there were times when I was younger when I would think, okay, so I can't do that. Okay, let's see what else I can do.
Right.
I wouldn't give up or anything, but it would be like, I'm blind, so I guess I can't do that. Okay, all right, fine. And I just would resolve to not do it. And it's like now I'm just like, you know what? No, I think there are endless possibilities.
Yeah, it's almost like people think. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Max.
Oh, I was just going to say with the abusive relationship thing too. I used to be in it was a mentally and emotionally abusive relationship.
It's all the same, man.
When I first left it, my first thought was,
true.
Oh man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to, because this person was always, if I needed a ride or if I needed my house cleaned or whatever the fuck I needed, they were always there. So I was like, oh man, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And I remember I was a little bit afraid, like, oh shit, how am I going to, and then I went through a full day and did everything just fine and normal. And I'm like, damn. And when I got home, I remember I was sitting in front of my computer and I said, I don't need this fucking person. And man, let me tell you, there is nothing like that euphoria, bro. That is some wild shit once you realize that.
Yeah. That's an interesting one, because people will take away your freedom by giving you things easily. Because you had a lot of freedom in some ways with her. Let's go here. Okay, I'll take it there. I'll take it here. I'll take it there. Oh, I'm freedom, yeah. But then the emotional oppression was the other side of the fucking
right. You had to deal with that part too. You know.
So it's like that's how the codependent shit works. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah.
That's interesting too. Like how visually impaired people kind of like
wind up in those relationships, maybe.
Or no, but how they kind of going back to like the government, you know what I mean? Like if they're, you know, how am I going to do it without the extra money that I'm getting from the government? How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? How am I going to do it? And so sometimes they don't go for a job because they're like, oh, they're
afraid of losing that money.
Then how? Yeah.
Yep.
And it's like, well, you're gonna make more. So I mean,
so who cares? Fuck that money.
Do what you gotta do. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
You gotta do.
And you're right. I've heard people say that. Well, I don't want to lose my disability. And I'm like, disability is bullshit. You know, look how much money you're gonna make if you take this job. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
But there's also other. I'm gonna take a different stance on that a little bit. Is that sometimes you can be in an oppressive job that won't allow you to do the things you really want to do.
Oh,
and you're willing to take a cut to go start doing those things, and then eventually maybe you'll start getting into something that you actually can do with your time.
Right, that you enjoy.
Like for my last job, I had mandatory overtime. They would literally say you have to work this weekend for 4 hours.
Oh yeah,
that's insane. That should be illegal. It should be illegal. I'm sorry, it's disgusting.
Yeah,
like I would have stuff where I was meeting with my buddies to do music. And they go, boom, mandatory overtime. You have to have it either Saturday or Sunday. And I'd be out of town in Portland. I'd go, oh my fucking God. You gotta be kidding.
No.
Oh, that's gotta suck.
Mm-hmm. That's insane. Think about that. That's slavery, man.
Totally. Oh, wow.
But they can do that. They can go, you have to work. You have to work this weekend.
No wonder you left that job.
So my wife had something like that, but it wasn't as bad as yours. Yours is bad because your mandatory overtime was on your days off.
Yes.
Right. And then hit you with it.
Her mandatory overtime was on the same day. So like, let's say she was scheduled to come in on Wednesday, but she was supposed to start at 12 noon, and they would be like, mandatory overtime, come in at 9 o'clock. Okay, fine. I knew I was going to go to work anyway that day.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I can come in earlier
but that still doesn't work out if you got soccer practice or a big soccer game.
Oh yeah,
soccer game with your kids at 6 o'clock, and they're like, "Oh, well, you have to work that day."
Exactly.
And how in advance do they spring that on you?
Oh, a week. It depends.
Yeah,
like a week or two.
Okay, so at least they're giving you that shit. You're not.
No. Still, okay. You have to. You can't. If you want to take the time off, you have to use your own personal time.
Wow. Damn.
You have to schedule a time, and then you have to go in there. And the job was shit too. My point is that there's different ways to your freedom, to your idea. Because a lot of times it's
I guess
go ahead.
I think what you were saying earlier is there's a give and take. Is that what you're saying? Like, So let's think about that. Like financial freedom, right? Financial freedom requires my wife to work, 12-hour shifts, 3 to 4 nights a week. Yeah. That's kind of rough, but it's not impossible. But it's still like, dang, that's 4 12-hour shifts. Oh, that's a lot, And me, I hadn't until September of last year. I wasn't used to working an 8 to 5, at least not for the past like 5 years or so. I was always working like a part-time job, I wasn't working like an 8 to 5, and so it took a while for me to get used to it. It's easy now, but it's like, but before it was like, whoa, okay, time for money. You're exchanging time freedom for money freedom,
Right?
Yeah, it's like there's a trade-off.
Well, or like for my job, sometimes I'll have to flex. Like, so if we're doing an event on a Saturday that goes for 5 hours, I got to take 5 hours off during the week, which I don't really mind that. I kind of like it. So
but that's at least you have the option to kind of like cut something out somewhere else.
Oh yeah, well you just work around it, and actually I know people have said to me, wow, they must be really happy that you're willing to work those weekends sometime, and I'm like, oh, that ain't shit. So I don't mind it. I kind of like it. But
boys and girls, I think the lesson this week, to wrap this up for a few minutes, the lesson this week, guys, is that great freedom requires great responsibility.
Yeah.
In other words, to be free in the ways you want, you actually have to sacrifice in other ways, and you have to take responsibility for that sacrifice. So, for instance, freedom of speech, right?
Right.
You should be able to say whatever you want, wherever you want, right? But if you go in the middle
of,
at
least in America, the greatest country on earth.
But if you go into a place, into a Jewish restaurant and start talking to Zig Heil, you better expect
to get the repercussions.
The repercussions in terms of, and not physical, because that's the whole point of being eldest, but to get the repercussions of being ostracized from your peers. Like that's the risk of freedom of speech, is that you're gonna say some things that are gonna piss people off and quite possibly ruin your friendship and relationships. But you know what I'm saying? That's the trade-off for that. Like you have to know that.
We've learned that all throughout doing the show. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just like in most cases for a job, you're gonna have to like sacrifice either time for a better paycheck or stress for a better paycheck.
Right.
That's a lot. And if you can manage that, and not get that, that's great. But most of the time, if you're at a higher paying job, the higher paying job you have, the more stress you're going to have.
Yep. And you just got to deal with it. You're like, well, do I want the stress or is the stress too much? So really you just got to learn how to balance shit.
Yep. And not be afraid to fucking take the chances, I guess.
Pull by the balls, man.
If the electric fence is going, volunteer on jumping on the other side or whatever. I'm in philosophical.
I've always said, you kind of talked about balance, and I always tell my clients all the time, when it comes to life has to be all about balance. So if you're going to school, going to work, going to, I don't know, church, and going to, I don't know, whatever else you're doing, all the things that you're doing, there has to be a semblance of balance. You can't just be like, oh, I'm gonna screw over one thing to do the other. It's like, well, no, there's got to be a sense of balance. There should be.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, you got to learn how to balance that shit out, man.
Walk that tightrope, man.
Exactly.
Walk the fucking tightrope.
All you do, man. So.
All right, man.
All right, y'all. Well, shit.
Cool.
I guess this has been the Nothing Sacred shrink wrap for July.
Yes, July of 2022.
Yeah.
I am the Cruise Control.
I am Maxwell Silverhammer.
And I'm Luie Loc.
And that's the story there.
Bitches. That was great.
Fuck you guys. See you later.
We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. We are nothing sacred. With Maxwell Silverhammer. We are nothing sacred. With Cruise Control. We are nothing sacred.